Well, welcome back to Cook Brothers Garage. I'm the Brain, and Pinky's missing. Well, anyways, as you might as well read, that's why you're here probably. Read the intro or the little tag or whatever about Doug and Stacy. Off-grid Doug and Stacy. Are they real? All that crap. Right? Well, they got to be real. Do they do what they say they do? Well, I'm pretty sure they do. And what does it got to do with me? Well, it all started years ago with my mother. You know, this is when all that YouTube and internet stuff was kind of new, and Mom just got a new computer, and she's looking on there, looking at stuff, and she just happened to, one of them videos popped up or whatever, and she's just sitting there just telling me away, like, hey, look at this. This is how I used to grow up. This is how we used to do things. Well, you know, over the years I didn't pay it much attention. And then before I started this channel, she's sitting there showing me some stuff, and I watched some videos, you know, I thought it was pretty cool. A guy living the way I want to live. You know, he got his wife and all that. But I'm nowhere near off-grid. As you can see in the garage, we got lights, a new project, a Mustang. You know, I got wood stove in here. More economical to heat a big garage, you know. But, you know, she sat there and watched it, and she got me started watching it. I started my own channel. Why? Well, one is for entertainment. You know, some of that stuff, there's on there for people entertaining. But Doug and Stacy, they're showing you how they live and how they do things to help you. Some of them out there, you know, is for entertainment. Mine's for entertainment. I mean, Pinky, really, that ain't my wife's real name. Brain's not my real name. But the reason I done it was to entertain my mother. You see, back in 2009, my father passed, and he took care of my brother, which he was born special. And then, you know, my mother, she took over that role. And then, you know, she got sick, she got cancer, and she spent years smoking. But it didn't start out as lung cancer. It started other cancer and went here or there. But, you know, she got sick. And then I had to start taking care of him. And I had to take care of my mother. And my wife, she quit her job so she can help me take care of my mother. And she started getting really sick about when Doug and Stacy was sitting there building that log cabin for his mother. And my mom's like, boy, I'd like to have me a house. She's like, I grew up in a house. And, you know, she's like, you know, I'd like to live in a house one more time. She lived in a trailer. You know, when I lived in a trailer, I grew up in a trailer, had a wood stove. We didn't have much, but, you know, it's home. On the same piece of land I'm sitting on now. Well, here come an opportunity. I could buy a piece of land below us that had a house on it. Well, I bought it. I moved my mom in there, and I didn't have time for videos. You know, I just had time for my mama. And you know, she passed away last year in June. And I mean, it took us this long to even start back videos, for me anyways, because, you know, I had so much built up and, you know, stuff to do, and, you know, I had to grieve and all that to start my video. But I was like, what would my mama want? Because this entertained her. I played, if you look back on some of my older videos, it was just me and my brother playing video games. You know, it wasn't no commentary, wasn't none of that, just video games, us doing stupid stuff to make her laugh. Or sits there, how's that car still running? You flipped it over and run it off a mountain. And it evolved from there. She wanted to know what I was doing in the garage. She couldn't come at the garage no more. She couldn't come down here and like, hey, supper's ready, or here's a sandwich. She couldn't do that no more. But yet she still wanted to know what we was doing. So that's why I did the videos and stuff, so she could sit there from the privacy of her bed, her couch, and she's watching. What does all that got to do with Doug and Stacy? Well, Doug and Stacy's, their big YouTube channel, I think here recently, got 1 million subscribers. Well, I didn't watch them for a long time. Why? Well, I was still grieving at something me and Mama did together. Well, here recently I watched some videos on there, you know, chicken feed and Tractor Supply Company. And, you know, people got outraged. He's saying this. I'm like, he's telling you the truth. He's like, this is what they did. Whether Tractor Supply knew about it or not, it's two different things. But they become aware of it because of his big channel. And now with the chicken feed, I know in the wintertime, chickens lay less, yes. And if you change their feed, you might make them stop laying. To have a correlation. Did Tractor Supply know about it? Yet to be determined. Just like at drag dance thingamajigger. We used to have that in school. When I was growing up, some of the high schoolers got together, and I mean, this is back in 2000. And, you know, they did it for this, they did it for that, but I mean, there wasn't no jiggling around or none of that. I mean, it was kind of like a funny thing. They dress up like women, but they looked ugly. You know, now it's a whole different, I guess, can of worms. And I mean, I can understand to see it, the parents didn't know, and then all this happened, and some parents did know, and then it was all right. Well, that's up to every individual to determine whether it's right or wrong for you. You know, we're all going around judging everybody for everything. And we don't really have a right to. I mean, is it bothering you? A, is it affecting your life? B, no. Then don't worry about it. That's how I live my life. I mean, most of the wild animals you see, if it don't affect them, they don't care if there's a road there. They don't care if you cut down this tree as long as their nest or whatever wasn't in that tree. We should be a little more like that. We should be a little more forgiving and understanding of all people. You know, no matter what, you know, or anything. Whether you're a hillbilly or you a city folk or anything in between. But we have gotten in this world so dependent on technology and so dependent on all this that we got to say this or say that to even matter. It's not necessary. I mean, everybody matters, but not to everybody. Just like a big YouTube channel. They got millions of subscribers. They're going to get flack. You know, they're going to get disrespected. Do they deserve it? I don't think they deserve it. But yet there's somebody out there that thinks they deserve it and they give it to them. But all they're trying to do is trying to help the ones out who lives like them. Me, I'd love to live like that. I mean, I'm on my way starting. I bought that property down below us, you know. It used to be a miniature farm a long, long time ago when I was a little kid. You know, there used to be cows and pigs and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm still hooked up to the grid. I got internet, you know, water bill, light bill. I work on vehicles for extra money. I got a job. But the only thing difference between me and a lot of y'all out there is all my stuff's paid for. I mean, it might not be new. Newest thing I got in vehicle-wise is a 2006 F350. I haul my tractor around. That's the newest thing I got. Besides a lawnmower, which it's a 2016 Massey Ferguson. Little subcompact, and I think video of it where I'm using it and stuff. But I mean, it's all paid for. I don't have to have a brand new 2022 car and a brand 15,000 square foot house or whatnot. I mean, you work so hard to pay bills, but what do you get out of life? I mean, yes, you got nice things, and you might be sitting around a big house. But you got to keep working. I mean, the whole goal of life is to enjoy your life. You ain't here forever. That's one thing I learned from my mama. You ain't here forever, and the main goal is to enjoy your life while you can. I'm not saying if you enjoy life of hurting people, don't do that. Don't hurt other people. Do things other than that. But your life, you should enjoy it, and you should enjoy what you do. You know, you can sit there and downgrade these people and say this or say that, but I mean, that does nothing. And one day, you might need these skills that you see on there. You might need their cookbook, or you might need how to, you know, you might need to learn how to grow your own garden. Why? Because the world's never the same. It's always changing. And right now, the future is kind of on shaky ground. I mean, you see the stock market and all that. And you see all these other countries, a lot of these countries get money from us. And where we're getting it? From taxpayers. And that's a whole nother ballgame about taxes and all that stuff. I mean, I can go on, but in my opinion, they should just get rid of the IRS. I know there'd be a lot of jobs lost there, but they could get your job somewhere else. But maybe not, I don't know. But get rid of the IRS and just have a flat tax on everything you buy. Federal tax of 32%. That's basically what to pay now. I mean, your employers pay half up, and then you pay the other half. then that would get rid of a lot of these loopholes, because it wouldn't be a loophole. Even the rich would have to pay that. And think about the multi-billion-dollar stuff that they buy on a constant daily basis. Way more than we buy. And you might think, well, the rich should pay their fair share. Well, Congress and them writes the laws, and they write it where they can, find a loophole. Just like President Trump found them loopholes, whether you like him or not. He's a businessman. He pays people to do his taxes. He don't do his taxes himself. And, they find these loopholes. Well, why this company runs itself into the ground? That's because somebody rich somewhere taking that and using it as a deduction. Like, well, this company lost $1 billion or $1 million or whatever it is. Well, whoever owns that company can then write that off in taxes so they don't have to pay taxes. And, them Congress and stuff, how they, what do they do? They're Congress, right? And then they live in multi-million-dollar mansions in more than one. How is that even possible? If you just look at all their tax record, there's something going on there. But, that's a whole nother video that we ain't going to get into, because this is more like entertainment channel. But, I'm kind of venting here since I haven't been in here a long while. But I'm just seeing a bunch of stuff online, and this and that, like, well, they're fake, and this is fake, and that's fake. I can tell you that they're living their dream, and they're trying to help everybody to get out of the rat race. Which, my wife, she didn't go out to work. You want to know why? Because we don't need to work. Everything's paid for. The only thing we got to do is pay taxes every year. And, that's another whole nother thing. But, as long as you're happy and you're living your life, what else is there to do? You can complain. But, ever since there's the internet, they's always, just got worse and worse. It was a good idea. It's easier. I know it's a lot easier ordering parts. I can tell you that. Or finding something rare. But for as the interaction with people, some of it's good, but a lot of it just went downhill. I can tell you ordering parts for that thing's a lot easier. Some of the parts I can buy, but they're expensive, especially on eBay. Like an all-aluminum intake. That's plastic intake on it cracked back there at the water passage. I got the old one, I think, laying right here. And that's my chair squeaking. But it was cracked on the backside over there, and that's leaking antifreeze, and water pump was bad and all that. And then I had to put all bushings in there. But I'll show you the vehicles and other stuff I got here later at the end of this video. But in summary, what I'm trying to say is live your life and stop degrading these other channels. So what you don't agree with it? Most of YouTube is just entertainment anyways. And so he dresses like Amish, lives like Amish. I get claimed to be Amish too because of my beard. But I'm just too lazy to shave it. I kind of like it because it's warm. My hat. Beverly Hillbilly hat. Long hair, glasses. Why? I like the hat. It covers me, covers my back, covers my front. But do I claim to be Amish? No. What do I claim to be? I claim to be a hillbilly because I live in the mountains, Appalachian Mountains. My daddy ran shine. Up in the mountains, he made moonshine, ran shine. We raised like he did. Like Doug and them, we raised 90% of the stuff, and what we didn't, moonshine got it for us until, there's such things as jobs and internet and power and all that stuff come in, and we kind of, I guess, got lazy, and we raised less and less, and then, we stopped, raising animals and chickens. And, on the chicken feed. I didn't know you could actually go to the store and buy a mix already made. When we was younger, and when I had chickens, I would have went down here to the feed store and I bought the stuff and mixed it like my daddy did in 255-gallon barrels. But, that's a whole nother thing. I was like, whoa, you mean they got that? I haven't looked into it in years. But I didn't even think about it when I had chickens. I don't got chickens now, but I'm going to get some, especially the way of egg prices. But there's always going to be something somewhere that's going to irritate you. Whether you say something about it or not, that's the key. If something upsets you, I can understand that. But why do you got to sit there and blow it up and make such a fuss about it? If anything, I can understand letting people know. That's fine. It's like, hey, so-and-so is this or this is doing this. I can understand that. But you're sitting there telling lies about somebody that's not true. Why? It's terrible. I mean, I was growing up in school. I mean, I had people in school telling lies about me, saying I was a Satan worshiper and, that we was sacrificing this or that up here, that we was hanging babies from the trees. And, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. But the few people who met me and talked to me in schools, my friends, they knew better. They knew better to listen to these crazy rumors. And that's what I think all this Facebook and Twitter and all that, it's become high school 2.0 all over again. And I mean, YouTube, certain parts of it, yeah. But everybody's concerned with everybody else's business but their own. Is that how the future is going to be? Which, if it is, it ain't going to be much of a future much longer. I mean, it's like Russia and Ukraine. One maniac wants another part of the country or another part of the world, and he's going to take it at all costs. He don't care about his men. He don't care about nothing. He's just going to do it. Well, what's going to stop him there? I don't know. He might. He might not. What's going to stop China from taking Taiwan? They want it. What's going to stop any of them? What, the United States? What happens to the United States fighting amongst themselves like they're doing now? We're not holding together for nothing. We're sitting there fighting amongst ourselves. And I see it eventually getting to a certain point where there's going to be one side versus the other, and it's going to be another civil war. And when they got that civil war, guess what's going to happen? Our enemies are going to take advantage of that. Plain and simple. I mean, think about it. If you was another country and you want to destroy that one country, but they're infighting, you're going to let it boil up until it's one hell of infighting before you even lay foot. And what do you do before then? You ruin their economy. Look, we're $31 trillion in debt, United States, and they want to raise the ceiling some more. I mean, I'd love if I got credit. I would love to raise my credit some more. Let me see. That ain't enough. I'm going to raise it to a couple $1 billion, and then I'm going to take what I owe and just use the credit to pay for itself. How's that going to work? Eventually it's going to max out. Oh, I'm going to raise it again just like the people in Congress. I mean, they vote for their own pay raises. I mean, one's like, hey, I want a pay raise. How about we give Congress a pay raise? I second that. Well, all who's for it? I. Then all who oppose? Nobody. Who would be opposed? What are you going to work? And all employees like, we all decided we didn't want raises. He's like, okay, they get raises. I mean, that's not how it works in your job or where you work at, but that's how it works in Congress. But I mean, I can go on and on about all this stuff, but I'm just rambling now. But I might have to edit some of this out. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just rambling. But I'm basically waiting on parts. I had to order a whole brake kit for this car, rotors, calipers, brakes, hoses, because somebody who worked on it before me decided they was going to try to bleed the brakes and then break the bleeder screws off all four calipers. So I sit here in my nice wood stove right now, just after I watched them videos and stuff with Doug and Stacy, and thought I ought to say something. Another thing is about this COVID, whether you took the shot or not, well, that's your personal choice. I ain't going to tell you what I done, because I don't want to tell you, and none of your business, really. But, I mean, some people would like to know. But, oh well. One day I might tell you. One day you might find out. One day you might not. But, I'm not upset at the people who took it or the people who didn't. What I was upset at is my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and it went different places, but the last one that early got her, it was right before everything got shut down, that COVID, and it was lung cancer. I know she smoked many years. She smoked, I think, ever since she was 17 or before that. But they could have done something. But it sat there in her lung for 2 years because the cancer part of the hospital was in with the rest of the hospital. And around here, they built new hospitals, but the old hospital had an isolation floor, a whole floor isolation for stuff like this. But they deemed that not necessary since we haven't had a pandemic in, I forget how many years. So basically, my mom had cancer just sat in her lung for 2 years. Grew and spread, and it went up to her brain. That's eventually what killed her, when it went up to her brain. And, they tried to treat it there first. And while they was treating it there, it spread the rest of her body and her, And then, they got it and they was going to treat the rest of her body, but then, it spread in her brain to more and more, and then, it was finally too much for her little body to take, and then she was gone. But kind of reminded me of a passage in the Bible that says, once a man, twice a child. Now I understand that. Because when you're a child, your mother and father sit there, feed you, take care of you, bathe you, change your diapers and everything. Well, me and my mama, we was close. And me and my wife, we was doing all that. We was changing her diaper, we was feeding her, bathing her, everything. And basically her mind went back to like it was when she was a child. She was sitting there telling me stories that, years ago that she'd tell me. But she was telling me stories I've never heard before. She's like, oh, look at Daddy. He cut chicken's head off, and look at it. It's going dooka, 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 dooka. I'm like, what are you talking about, Mama? He's like, Mama? He's like, you're funny. I ain't your mama. She's like, Daddy cut a head off a chicken. Look at it. It's running around with the head off. He's like, that's so funny. And she didn't recognize me, but later on, she kind of like, oh. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember that story. That's good. Yeah, I thought it's kind of funny when I was little. Yeah, Daddy, he'd cut a head off the chicken so we'd have a chicken to eat and it'd run around. And she saw her brother who died before her, and then she saw Daddy. She was ready. She even told us she was dying when, she come, clear enough where she could understand, what was happening and stuff. But, that was getting farther and few between. And there at the end, she slept for 3 days and didn't wake up, and she passed on. But the cancer put so much pressure on her brain, but she wanted to die at home. She wanted to die in the house. She grew up in the house, and she wanted to die in the house. And that was her wish, and that's what she got. And she made me promise to sit there and make sure everything's paid for so she don't have to worry about us losing anything. So that's why land, house, vehicles, everything paid for. It might not be new, but it's paid for. So now I can kick back and enjoy life like she wanted us to do. And life is so short, and y'all fighting. Why? There's some good reasons to fight. But to argue over whether they're real or not on a entertainment platform is ridiculous. Just because they do theirs different than you, and I do mine different than everybody, I don't sit there and claim, oh, look, I'm off-grid Donald Cook. Nope. I'm just Cook Brothers Garage. I got a garage. I don't do this full time. Most of the time I work on my own vehicles, and a couple of friends or some other people need some, work, and they can't afford it to go to a garage or something. But I raise my rates on what I used to. But, it is what it is. And it just world's getting crazier and crazier instead of better. If everybody worked together for the betterment of all mankind, it'd be a lot better. But everybody's out for themselves. And you're not going to stop evil. People are mean and evil, and you got to make a conscious decision every day not to be. You can take away the guns, you can take away the knives, you can take away the bombs, and people will end up fist fighting. Look in jail. Yeah, they smuggle drugs and stuff in, but they still fight and killing there. They're all kind of caged up together, but you get the point there. Well, in foreign countries, I think UK and Britain, they got outlawed guns, but now, they get people with knives and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that they got laws saying that you can't have a knife on you or something, or if you stab somebody with a knife, you'd be put in jail or something like that. I ain't really too clear on that, but I know you can't have a lot of things over there. I'm pretty sure you can't have a sword or machete, but I ain't too sure about that neither. I don't know how they cut brush down, but I guess they got a tractor or something for that, or a mower. But anyway, it don't matter what you take away. These people are going to do that regardless. They got the internet. They can look up ways to make stuff. Come on, get on here and look up how to make a knife, have a toothbrush, or how to make a bomb. You can look it up. It's on there. You can find it. You can even look up how to make a ghost gun. It's there. You can even go to YouTube and, It don't even have to be on YouTube. It can be one of them other platforms that nobody heard of on the dark web or something. It's just ridiculous. I mean, just like back in the day, the government said, oh, we'll give you social security numbers, but we're not going to use it to identify you. And what are they using it for now? Exactly. But I don't know if the world's going to keep going like it is, because if it does, it's probably going to crash. Everybody needs to wise up and get on the same bandwagon, or at least get on the same page in the book and just agree to disagree and not want to kill each other about it. It'd be like over there in the Middle East, where, how many years is it now that Palestine and Israel's been fighting? Oh yeah, since biblical times. And it's not going to stop. I mean, they're fighting because their parents fought, their grandparents fought, so forth, so on. It's never going to end. Humans are inherently evil. I mean, and it takes a constant battle every day for some people to not be evil. And some people just don't care. And some people are just greedy and out for themselves. But we will never become a society what we should be to explore the space and to move on past this little planet if we don't all get together and work together. And it's going to take some people that wants to be off grid. It's going to take some people who's good at this and some people's good at that. But we're going to have to all work together. I mean, Congress is not even working together. It's either one or the other side. You ain't no middle ground. I mean, I think it should be more than just, you know, Democrats and Republicans. We should have a lot more in there, but it is what it is. And, you know, and it's a sad day when, you know, the unions are worse than what they was beginning to fight. I mean, they started back in the beginning to fight for better, you know, better pay and all that. And now, you know, a lot of the unions just out for whatever dues and stuff they can get and what they could pocket. Which I'm not part of no union. But anyways, I guess y'all can leave something to comment. Y'all been here this long. I could ramble on for hours, but I'm pretty sure I'd make it a one boring YouTube channel. Which ain't much of a YouTube channel, what, 200 some subscribers and whatnot, but it is what it is. But since y'all listen to all that, I guess I don't have no other ramblings to say in my garage. That's paid for, on the land that's paid for, and the vehicles you see is paid for. And the equipment you see is paid for, everything of mine's paid for. And my brother's too, since I take care of him. But anyways, I will show you my vehicles now. And little stuff I'm working on and some other stuff you might get. So, you know, if you listen to all that and still on here, I feel sorry for you. Not really. But now you get a reward of seeing cars. I mean, if you're like that stuff and tools, which my garage is real messy right now since, you know, this is the first time in a long time I got to work in there. I had project after project and a project in here, but I could just talk your ear off because I don't got many people to talk to besides family, because we don't go nowhere. Can't afford to. I mean, I probably could, but, you know, I'd rather save the money up. But anyways, we'll talk about this lovely car here once I flip this around. What is this thing? Well, I'm pretty sure that right there gives it away. And by the way, I'm not handicapped. I got to keep that. That was on my mama's car. And she gave up driving. So I kept that as a souvenir. And I was also on the other car's title. So when she passed away, I told her, I was like, well, we'll just let you keep that. So I kept it. I'm eventually going to get different tags for the car. But, you know, for right now, it's good enough because I still got to do work to the car. And here's the factory for intake manifold. Woohoo! Plastic. What a great idea that was. And you probably can't see, but yep, there's a crack. And that's where the hose comes up for the system coming up from the exhaust running up into the carburetor. Or not carburetor, shoo. I'm too old school, I've been working on too many carburetors. Right into there into the fuel injection. Basically, it takes some of the exhaust gases, run it through, and put it into the intake so you pollute less. Well, how it come up through the back right there, right by where that plastic thing is. And you know, heat and plastic work so well together, don't they? Well, and that was cracked, and it was also leaking out of the water pump and one of these hoses back here. So basically, I drove it 2 hours with 3 different leaks, and with bad brakes, and you notice the air conditioner stuff's loose. Yeah, somebody worked on it before me, of course. And I don't know if I got. Here we go. Here's one of these little clips. Ugh. And there's, I know, a pile of tools. I just moved it out of the way for now. I'll put them up later. But as you can see how that's got a ridge on it? Well, this, I went over that and it locked, kind of like one of the safety things that helped lock it together. Well, them hoses, the air conditioner ran right down in there, and I had to replace the valve cover gaskets because they was leaking. Well, when I was moving that valve cover, that wasn't on one of them. And I was wiggling it, and guess what? Boof. Yep, it blew right off. That's why you should wear safety glasses when working on vehicles. Because if I didn't, I'd be blind right now. But I didn't have these on. These are my looking glasses. Because I can see up close fine, as you can't see far away. But I got safety glasses, and I'm thankful I had them on. And as you see, it's a 2003 Mustang with a 4.6 V8 manual transmission. I got it for a steal of a deal. It needed all new bushings, ball joints, all that good stuff. A few other little things. I got a video on Facebook. It sounded pretty good. I might add it in on here. But it's black on black on black. And if you wonder what's in that crate, that's a 4.2 liter straight six for a Jeep. I know, it ain't a Jeep here. It's outside. Can't fit it all in here. That's just boxes of trash. And, you know, so a lot of these tools I had for a long time that my daddy had, you know, I inherited them. That was made in 97 from El Cheapo shop place. Central Machinery, I think it's what, Harbor Freight. But a lot of people hate those, some of them like them. But that one's all how you adjust it and get it shimmed just right, and it works like a dream. And I know this ain't OSHA, no belts. Got that same place, and that thing would hold tolerance within 5,000, which is a lot more than what you really need in a garage like this. I know, recycle, right? All them jars over the years recycled. But one thing don't skip out on, get you a good welder. Now this is a Lotos, or how you pronounce it, I don't know. But they're made in America, it's good. And get you a name brand plasma cutter. Don't skip on that. And that's a Lotos, and that does stick, TIG, and all that good stuff. Because, you know, I tried to weld for a long time with a Harbor Freight machine. Which, I mean, it did alright, but you couldn't really get the penetration you needed to do what you needed to do. You know, on like a frame or what that will weld up probably 3/8 and a half inch. Well, I welded ½ inch. That will weld beautifully. And if you need something more than that, get you an old Lincoln stick welder. Yeah, that's old Harbor Freight, and I put a new little top on it and all that. But I got junk everywhere, as you can see, and signs. Probably wasn't none in my last videos, and security system. And there's the transmission for the Jeep, and it's automatic. Transmission Superstore. And that's like kind of like I guess a Monster equivalent, but it should hold that 200 horsepower nicely. I was going to get a supercharger for the Jeep, but you know, banks don't make that no more. And the wind's blowing, and it's cold up in here. Like, what does that say? It's like 30 degrees, give or take. Let's see, I'll figure out how to zoom in and out this. There we go, I figured it out. Yeah, just a smidgen above 30. And then I got my little clock here, and it changes from the time to the date to the temperature. See, that's the date, today's date. And then at temperature, oh, that's 46 right there. Well, because heat rises and plus sun shining outside and signing on it. And yay, look, more signs. Old tag. Shop rates. Yeah, I raised it from what that was. Let's go outside. And here is an old camper frame I'm using for a trailer. It was an old trailer camper. But there's my tow truck. There, part of it anyways. I took it apart to fix a lot of rust. It's got a Holmes 480 bed. And as you can see, people have been fiddling with it way before I ever got it. I don't know why they cut that like that. But there ain't nothing really in the way. You can see how the other side is. But it's PTO driven. It's all works. I checked it out. The engine runs in it. There it is, the rest of it. There's that Jeep, 92 model. Jeep Highlander. I'm going to eventually paint it and everything. Might even turn it into off that movie with the dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. That'd be pretty cool, because I think he did that 92, 93 Jeeps. Forget what model it was, but I know it was 92. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't a Sahara. It might have been, but anyway, here's my old Ford dump truck. And no, I wasn't a Ford fan when I was younger. I was more of a Dodge man. But Fords, there are more of them, and they're easier to find. And they're really easier to find parts for, let me tell you. I used to have Chevy until I had 2012 Chevy Traverse, which you got to pull the intake manifold, change spark plugs, and drain off fluid, and undo all the wires. As you can see, this is a pretty good little tow truck. I mean, it's got rust here and there, but engine runs. It's a 460. I would show you the engine, but you know, it's got Bondo here and there, or somebody did a paint job before. I guess didn't know how to do it to stick. But the main problem is this. As you see, it's been repaired. I mean, I'm going to do it better later, but you know, it's enough to get out of the garage and get that car in there, because I thought, I'll do a few things to that car, get it going. But what happened is, you see that hole there? Yeah, that got stopped up, so it got full of water and it built up rust. Kind of like, let me get out of the light there, kind of like that. Road, dirt, rust, and it rusted the hole out. Rusted the hole out so bad, nothing here. That's why you see that. That's a piece of metal I welded in there. And why'd I paint it? Well, I really wasn't done. I just painted it where it would protect it somewhat until I can get out here and get it back in the garage and do it good. But pretty sure it ain't going to rust through half an inch of metal by the time it's sitting out here. And I mean, that's a 1/4 inch. And why the hole's drilled in it? Well, it's a cross member right here. And I don't claim to be the prettiest welder or the best welder, but I mean, it's pretty good for, I mean, a hillbilly welding. I mean, some days you can do good, some days I suck. And yeah, this one's got the gas tank there instead of behind the seat. And it's got the door rear end. Basically had that off, and I have to redo this on the back side, clean all that up. Redo that cross member on the back. This up here, I don't gotta really do much of it except keep it running, keep fuel in it. That one I don't got nothing but keep diesel fuel in it, drive it around. I like to get it, put it back in the garage and paint the frame on it. It needs it again. That old diesel needs a frame painted again. It's starting to peel, but might get some of that better stuff. But this is, they're both, that's a 79 custom dump truck, and that's a 79 custom tow truck. They come from two different plants, but the same kind of model. This has got the 400 big block. It's got nice seats in it. And John Deere tractor, scrap. Just fixed it up, and there's my wood. There's my other wood. I've got plenty of wood. Got my wood splitter, which I gotta change hydraulic oil and engine oil and all that. Get some splitting out here. Let's see, that's got more rust of a hood. And you can hear a cat. There's mama's cats. but now I guess they're air cats. Say hi. Yes, Mitten, say hi. And out here's another Mustang. Oh, I forget the year, but it's a Fox body and it's convertible. Then I got a Dodge little pickup truck there. Then I got a Dodge, this is a camper van. Got some more scrap. And another cat. And I got some more wood laying there. And as you can see, I'm not going to run out of wood anytime soon. I ain't going to freeze to death. Yes, yes, kitties. Yes, no fighting. Yes, no fighting. Got this truck for a little nothing. No title, but sure it uses around here. More scrap. That's why I got the duck truck haul scrap off. Bush hog comes in handy. Now this is my first vehicle ever. I had this vehicle since high school. I worked 2 jobs to pay for this thing. Parents got the loan. I worked McDonald's and I worked milking cows on a farm. And it's got well over 1.5 million miles. I mean, this is my only vehicle until, shoot, this is my only vehicle for like 20 years? Nah, I got this before high school. Yeah, I got this while I was in high school, so I graduated in 2000, so when I first started driving when I was 15 or 16. So I drove this for like 15, 20 years straight. I mean, me and my buddies, I mean, I'd go everywhere. I mean, I burned through, I changed oil in this thing so many times, it's ridiculous. And that was my daddy's truck. That's the one I learned on. And it's a Dodge, Power Wagon. Which frame rusted a half on it, so we channel ironed that and drove it around for a long time. Yes, kitty. Yes, Tom. Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, these loving animals. And as you see, I got my guard dog on duty, and while I'm outside, I gotta keep him chained up while I'm outside, because we got a leash law around here. And then when I go in my little hut, he comes inside with me, don't you? He thinks we're going inside right now. Oh, he's marking his territory, of course. But, as you see, here's my Ram Charger. There's another Ram Charger, it's 79 cab takeoff, but as you see, that's why I got a guard dog, because somebody stole the entire front clip off of that. I took it off, get the engine transmission out to put it in this one, and they stole the whole front clip, because I had it sitting on the back of that truck. They come around the back of the garage one day while I was gone at work, took it. So now, my brother lives up here close, so he always got a phone so he can call if anything happens. As you see, they got trees out in the woods that fell. We'll have to get that. Yes, kitty. I'm trying to talk. You tell me shut up, end the video, and feed you. You got food. And there's that little 6x6 I was building. Kind of stopped working on it when Mama got sick. But there's my little house. And where do you keep the food and stuff at? Well, my brother's house, because I cook food for him, clean, has a shower in there. And then my wife's house, which was my mama's house. She lives down there, her and her youngest daughter, and the baby. And I stay up here around my junk, because that's where I always lived up here. We used to live in this little old trailer down here. Is the only thing we had up here. Blow up Jeep, had that wood stove. Yes, kid, you got food. You got food up there at that house. You don't need to eat down here too. No, you don't. But see that old house there, that old trailer. Yeah, we had that ever since I was born, since '82. That was the only thing up here. All this used to be wooded or open space. I gotta fix my grapevines. The wind did a number on it up here. And I got me some more wood cut up. And I bought the houses down there. You can't really see it. That's the neighbor's house there, but the other house you might be able to see a part of it. Yes, kitty. I bought that. Kind of can see the top of the roof right there, the house right there. That's the one I bought my mama to live in. And basically I got a bunch of scrap metal stuff. Make art, sell it locally. You know, work a job. And I got more free time now. So I'm gonna try to do some more of these videos and stuff. See, the dog loves to get on them couch. chairs there. And a lawnmower and a cat. I see you got food. Well, I'm gonna get on back in here in the garage. Yes, kitty, you go up there, you got food up there. Animals, right? But this is gonna be one long video, huh? I haven't had one in a while. But, I mean, that's kind of like what I think, and that's the stuff I got. And you've been on here this long. I don't know what else to tell you. Like and subscribe. You like a middle-aged man who likes to ramble about a bunch of stuff for no other parent than to ramble. But this is for entertainment purposes, I guess. And, of course, my fire's about died out in here. Oh, but I guess that's going to be pretty much it for Cook Brothers Garage today. And I might try to do a video maybe every week or once a month. It just depends on what all I get into, but I'm going to try to bring his channel back to life. But I mean, if you like rambling old men or middle-aged men, this is your channel. But I'm going to try to do some funny stuff maybe. I don't know, maybe some entertainment, maybe some how-to, like on that car, and maybe on that tow truck, make a video of it. I got it running and everything, just need a new carburetor, which I got one. I'm probably going to have to rebuild it. But I mean, there's so many videos on there how to rebuild a carburetor. I'm pretty sure you don't want me to show you step by step. Just, hey, look, I took it apart and I fixed it for cheap. But the main thing on vehicles is all the safety stuff. Pollution control stuff, it's not safety. I hate pollution control stuff. And he's like, well, it helps the environment. We'll tell that to China and these other foreign countries that don't give two balonies. But yeah, a lot of these countries are like, well, the United States should pay this because they polluting. Well, they just out for the money. Windmills, I mean, that's a good idea, but and solar panel, but that's not going to be your main 100% all to do power source. Which, I mean, we got a long ways to go. I mean, if we get some clean fusion or something like that, it's kind of like fusion, or is it fission? I think fission's in one, fusion's the other. But anyway, if we get some clean energy or something like that, I mean, maybe we can get away from these fossil fuels. But if you think you got an electric car and you're like, well, boy, I'm green. Nah, I think 90%. I think around about 90% of electricity in the United States is made by fossil fuels. So let that sink in. I mean, over the lifetime of the car, you might be more green. Because, I mean, I don't know the lifespan of the batteries and stuff, but if anything like cell phones, what, 5 years? Gotta get a new cell phone battery? I mean, if cars are anything like that, electric cars, I mean, but they need to make it more cheaper to get the batteries instead of, hey, let me buy a used electric car because this poor folk can't buy brand new. And then, you know, like, well, I gotta replace the battery, it costs more than a car. But I mean, they need to be able to recycle them lithium-ion batteries, which I don't know if they got a way to recycle them yet. But I mean, you get a lot of that stuff from China and other countries. I mean, there's a big, I think, strip mine. I believe it's over in Russia or China, or one of them. I mean, it's a big giant hole you can see from satellite. I mean, you can see the city, and it dwarfs the city, I believe. But that's one of them lithium mines. I mean, it's a good idea. It just, do we have the infrastructure? Not right now. If everybody switched over electric cars this instant, I mean, there'd be no power grid. I mean, there'd be so much voltage pulled through the lines that it'd be upgraded, yes. But it's like putting a horse behind the cart, or putting the cart in front of the horse. I mean, we can do these things and do better for the earth, but are we going about it the wrong way? Are we just jumping around? Like the global warming and stuff, have you went far enough back in geological history to actually prove that we're actually doing this or doing that, or is it just a normal pattern of the earth? Well, where's the science on that? I mean, they go up to Antarctica and drill the ice. I mean, they can tell patterns of where the world's been warmer and cooler. I mean, you're always going to have fluctuations. How are you going to stop it? I mean, you can adjust it and do this and that, but more mankind fools with Mother Earth, the more Mother Earth pushes back. And yeah, we all pollute, but there's, what, 8 billion people, close to 8 billion people on the Earth? I mean, we all live and we all pollute to a certain extent. I mean, back in the day, they wasn't that many. I mean, he started out with what, a few 100,000, I think he said, with the DNA back to the mitochondrial or whatever it was. Back to they said at one point in time it was only a few thousand humans. And then Middle Ages, what, maybe a million, couple of million Middle Ages. Now 8 billion or close to it. I mean, the world's not going to sit there and be able to take as much population, as much food. And then people say, well, we don't need no GMO. I'm like, well, they said they didn't want artificial fertilizer, fertilized plants back when they started fertilizing it because it made more crops. And then here we are, not even thinking twice about that. Should we be modifying it or genetically modifying it? No, but also all these weird flowers and stuff, and people's been breeding them for years, like tomatoes. I mean, they breed tomatoes with different kind of tomatoes to make this, or to make this oddball, just like dogs. But they just got a newer way of doing things. Whether it's right or not, it's two different things. I mean, in the end, will it help mankind or will it hurt mankind? We're just gonna have to wait around and see, I guess. Just like the AI. I mean, if it comes self-aware and we try to kill it, of course it's gonna protect itself. But if it comes self-aware and it figures out humans are, predisposed to being hurtful to other humans, they might take a different path and try to protect all humans, by keeping away from other humans. You never know what the future holds. I mean, there's a lot of potential and a lot of drawbacks. You just got to live your life and enjoy how you live your life and keep your nose out of other people's business, I guess, is what I'm saying. I mean, you especially don't need to tell lies about people. I mean, I got some projects up here, some nice things to do, and I'm going to enjoy doing them. I mean, I'm going to start my little mini farm too, I'm going to have me equipment. I got some miniature equipment. But you know how it is. I'm going to live my life how I want to. And, I like to go hunting. And, bow hunt and all that. And I do use a gun to hunt. And no, poor Bambi. I don't kill Bambis. Nope. Well, you don't kill baby deer anyways. You wait until they get grown. I like to kill them when they're about, 5, 6 years. They're starting to get elder a little bit before the meat gets too tough. But I mean, we're overpopulated with deer. I mean, they're getting hit on the interstate and roads all the time around here. I mean, there ain't many hunting. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't see hardly any squirrels. Now we're covered up with squirrels. That makes some good gravy. But I mean, there's ways to survive out there if you want to do the old ways. Or if you want to be like a hybrid like me. You like some of the old ways, but you like some of the modern conveniences. Like turn the switch on, light comes on. But there's a bill behind that, so you got to do inconveniences called getting a job, working, or making a way to pay for stuff. Which you got to make a way to pay for anything. You got taxes. But I like my guns to go hunting with and for protection. Beyond that, what I'm going to use it for? Nothing. Shoot, I mean, some of these debates are getting bad. And I mean, it's getting bad in this country, but I mean, it's a tool like anything else. And, the Roe versus Wade thing, I mean, that's another whole can of worms, ain't it? You got people on one side and people on the other side. But what I see all this is they're trying to divide the people amongst themselves so they can remain in power for as long as they can. That's what I'm thinking. Because why, after all these years, would you change something unless you want an uproar? I mean, look at who's been in the office of president the last few presidencies. I mean, really? And look who you got to choose from. I'm like, really? I mean, it's like picking between a rock and a hard place and you're going to live there for the rest of your life. I mean, there's conspiracy theories and then there's people that shows you proof and you don't believe it. I mean, some people's going to have to see the writing on the wall and come together and figure out and how to make this world a better place for all, not just a select few. And then, people's going to have to realize they can't have everything but enjoy what you got. I mean, I didn't start out with all this. My parents got the land, and we worked on it year after year after year after year until here I am, 40 years later, and we're still working the same piece of land. But not the way it used to be worked. But the world's a changing. You either change with it, or you remain a dinosaur, or you try to change it for the better. But is it technology help, or is it like being an addict? You know, I noticed that among a lot of people. I mean, even older people. I mean, they always got to have their phone in their hand, or you can't be away from the phone. There was this. I was talking to this one lady, and she worked one of them crisis center for teenagers. You know, and part of the crisis center is voluntary, but part of it was they took your phone away. And I mean, they threw a big fit, and they was fighting. And some of them, you know, left before the time was, but the ones that stayed, you know, their depression went down, their self-esteem went up, they was talking to people, they was interacting, they was generally happier. And what else is that seen in? Well, that is also seen in drug addicts. You know, they took the drugs away, and at first they're all wound up, and they're getting dope sick and losing out, and then after that, you know, they kind of get better, and they get ways of coping and all that. It's the same way with the teenagers and the phones. So, I mean, there's good and bad in everything. You know, you can drink too much water and die. I mean, you can sit there. It was a thing a while back when the PlayStation Wii was new. You remember that? Not PlayStation, Lord. It was Nintendo Wii, not PlayStation Wii. Lord have mercy. Get them words mixed up sometimes. But it was a Nintendo Wii. And it was new, and they had this thing on a roller coaster. And it's called Hold Your Wii for Nintendo Wii. And this one lady died from it. She died, I think, of hydrolysis or something. But she had too much water in her blood, and she didn't pee it out. She held it until she died for Nintendo Wii. I remember when they wasn't no Nintendo. I remember when it was regular Nintendo. And you was lucky to get one. I remember when it was arcades. I remember when there wasn't no internet. I remember when dial-up. I remember when it was DOS. You had to type in a command. Or either have a floppy disk. I wonder what we're going to have in the next 50 years. Maybe we can have a replacement body. Maybe be like Ghosted Machine or something. I mean, if we don't destroy all ourselves first. But then that goes again with all the infighting. I mean, if we work together, we can have a good utopia. But then again, if we fight amongst ourselves like we're doing. But another thing, you shouldn't, decide, well, everything should be come to a vote for everything. I mean, you own something, you should do what you want to it as long as you don't harm nobody. That's what I think about the safety equipment of vehicles. If it's got to do with somebody else's safety, sure, keep it working like brakes. Windows so you can see people, lights so they can see you, brake lights. But airbags and seat belts, why? I mean, it keeps the other people in your vehicle safe and you safe in a crash. But why did they start that? Cars didn't come with that. It's because somebody lost somebody they loved because they wouldn't wear a seat belt or this and that. And he's like, hey, Congress, make a law where you got to wear a seat belt, period. And Congress like, sure, it sounds like a good idea. Or state or whatever it was. And then now, more than likely, it's more than just a money racket. I mean, yeah, it does save lives. Don't get me wrong, it does. But most of the time, they use it for a money racket. Oh, guard dog. Either somebody's coming up to Cook Brothers' garage, or a vehicle's coming up to the neighbor's house. I don't know which it is, but I got company, so I'm going to have to get on off here. So, this is the brain signing off, and I might see you next week. We'll just have to see how this does. I might get 2 new subscribers, and I might have to keep this up. But y'all, keep it real. And remember, don't take life so seriously. Enjoy your life. Tell the ones you love them. And I'll be seeing you. And if you watched this long, thank you. And I'll see you next time. And if you're really watching this long, like, subscribe, all that. And I'll try to do something different in the future. I don't know, unless y'all like old man that rambles in his garage. But y'all take it easy. This is the brain out and Pinkies lost. Figure out how to turn this doodad back off. See you later.